All right, today we are going to go over my picks for the Reddit fantasy bingo board. I just heard about this a couple weeks ago, so we're just diving all in. About this from Essentially Booked. She did a video with her Reddit fantasy bingo TBR. Also, Angela from Literature Science Alliance, she did one. I'm sure there are many other people. As usual, I am fairly late to the game, but I'm here. So I'm gonna go over what I have picked out. I am using this as a extra incentive to focus on reading off of my own shelves. So I've tried to pick things for the prompts that are already here. I think there might be one where I'm gonna have to utilize a library book, but that's all right. Oh, there are a couple where I am going to use books that I have pre-ordered to fulfill the prompt, so I don't have those books yet because they're not out yet. The rules is that you can't reuse an author for multiple squares, and I goofed because this author uses different names. So I'll list I'll show both of the books, just with the caveat that I am going to get rid of one of them and replace it with something so that I'm not breaking that rule. I will not be doing hard mode. So yeah, let's just get on into it. So the first prompt is title with a title. I am going to use Witch King by Martha Wells, which comes out at the end of May. And it's going to be the book for the May Illumicrate box. So I will be reading my Illumicrate copy when I get it. The next prompt is superheroes, and I have had this arc lying around for forever. It's called How to Date a Superhero and Not Die Trying by Christina Fernandez. This book's been out since last summer. It's literally just been sitting on my shelf. So it's YA, and it's about a girl who falls in love with a superhero. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm excited to add that, to finally get this off of my TBR. The next one is bottom of the TBR, and that for me is Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova. I bought this solely because of the cover in 2020. And I keep meaning to read it. I even bought the sequel because it's a duology, and I still have not cracked either of them open. So this is gonna get me to read this. The next prompt is Magical Realism, and I am going to read another one I have had on my TBR for a very long time. I'm gonna read We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry. I think this is magical realism. I did a Google asking if We Ride Upon Sticks was magical realism, and Google said yes. So if that's incorrect, let me know, and then I can yell at Google. And then the fifth prompt, or the last prompt, if we're going by lines, is young adult, even though I already have a couple young adults in this pile, but I am going to read A Magic Steeped in Poison for the young adult prompt. All, again, impulse bought it because of the cover, and I believe this one, the magic system is based on tea, and it's also a duology, and I've heard really good things from other booksellers, and would love to finally have read this book. All right, and then on to the next line. The prompt for the first prompt up is Mundane Jobs, and I'm going to read The Outside by Ada Hoffman to fulfill that prompt. I don't remember what the mundane job is, but like on the Reddit fantasy bingo, you can go to a recommendation board and people put in the recommendations for all the different prompts, and this popped up on the Mundane Jobs recommendation, and I already had it, so I will read that. Next is published in the 2000s, and I would really like to read Rosemary and Rue by Seanan McGuire. This is book 1 in her October Day series, but this is where I goofed. So I have Seanan McGuire on this bingo board unintentionally twice. So I don't know if this will be the one I read or if I pick a different one. I don't know if I own another book that I haven't read yet, published like in the aughts. So that was definitely the one I struggled with the most. I spent a really long time trying to figure out. Maybe The Expanse. I think I have The Expanse. Oh, it's up here. Can I check? Let's see. When was The Expanse? 2011. Dang it. Okay. So, TBD. Maybe I'll read this. Maybe I'll swap it in with something else. We shall see. The next one is Angels and Demons, and I'm going to cheat a little bit on this prompt because you're supposed to pick one where a main character is an angel or a demon. The obvious recommendation for that is Good Omens, but I have read Good Omens. And so I'm going to read Seven Devils because I think this was another one that popped up on the recommendation board on Reddit that could work for that prompt. But again, I haven't read it yet, so we're just kind of hoping for the best with some of these prompts because I don't fully know what I'm doing this time around. And then the next one is 5 short stories. So basically a short story anthology. I am going to read Sword Stone Table. This is a book of Arthurian retellings. This is edited by Swapna Krishna and Jen Northington. And I, again, pre-ordered this before it came out and I still haven't read it. Are you noticing a theme with the books that I'm picking? My cat is in a mood. Okay. And then the last slot is horror. And I really want to read Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, but Mira Grant is also Seanan McGuire. So I might not read it after all. I might swap in. Chuck Tingle has a horror coming out in July called Camp Damascus, and I might swap this out for that. But I do really want to read this one, so we'll see. I have some hard choices to make. And then on to the third row. The first prompt in this row is self-published or indie published. I'm going to read The Vacuum of Space by Julia Hooney. This is book 1 in the Space Janitor series. And I picked this up at a indie bookstore a couple of years ago, but it's about like a space janitor, and then I think there's like a murder mystery. I don't know, but it could be a good time. This would probably also work really well for the Mundane Jobs prompt because, you know, space janitor. And then the next one is set in the Middle East, and I have the audiobook for The Daughters of Izdihar, and I really want to read that one or listen to that one. So that's going to fulfill that prompt. And then the next one is published in 2023, and I bought World Running Down by Al Hess shortly after it was published this year, and I have heard really great things about this so far. It's like cozy dystopian is what I've heard. So kind of along the same lines as Monk and Robot by Becky Chambers is what I think is going on here. The next one is Multiverses, and I think I'm going to read The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher for this one. Yes, I think this one works for Multiverses. So I don't own that one yet though. So that's going to be the exception where I either buy my own copy or I get it from the library and try it out that way, but I'm planning to read the Hollow Places for that prompt. And then the final prompt for this line is person of color author. So many books. Like I just started Jade City, so I could use Jade City for that prompt. I also still have The Faithless by C.L. Clarke that I would like to read, and that would fulfill that prompt really nicely as well. So this one, I'm gonna officially say The Faithless is gonna be for that prompt, but I could change it. I reserve the right to change the book I pick for any of these prompts along the way. All right, and then the fourth line, the first prompt is book club or read along book. And I'm gonna do the book that I just read over the weekend for my In Real Life book club, which was The Future of Another Timeline by Anna Lee Newitz. This is time travel, dual perspective. And the next one is a novella. This is another one I just finished this morning. It's The Mimicking of Known Successes by Malka Older. This was really fun. I loved this, like, sci-fi meets gas lamp mystery meets sapphic romance. It was a really good time. It was a little slow to get into, but once I got into it, it was really fun. I hope she writes more in this world. And then the next prompt is mythical beasts, and I'm gonna use Emperor of Ruin by Django Wexler to fulfill that prompt. And there's like these creatures in this that are called hardbacks, and they're described like turtles, but I always picture Tuk Tuk from Raya and the Last Dragon. That's what I picture in my head every time they talk about hardbacks. I don't know that that's accurate, but that's what I imagine. And then the next one is Elemental Magic, and for that one I'm going to read Fox Hunt by Rem Wigmore. I don't know what this one is about at all. Oh, it's solar punk. And then there's some sort of like elemental magic in it, but this was on a finalist list a couple of years ago for an Australian science fiction and fantasy award. And I don't even know if it won. I just remember looking through the list and loving this cover so much, and so I bought it. And then the last prompt on this line is Myths and Retellings, and for that one I'm going to read The Story of the 100 Promises by Neil Cochran. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I have had this on my TBR multiple times and I have yet to read it. So we're doing it now, okay? I'm gonna read this one, finally. And then the last line of the bingo board, the first prompt is queer norm setting. And I actually have already read this one too since April started. I picked Spear by Nicola Griffith. This is a gender fluid Arthurian retelling. I blew through this in 2 sittings. This book is so good. Like, if you have not, it's super shiny. I'm gonna just put up the picture. If you have not read Spear, I highly recommend it. I had such a good time reading it, and it's made me really curious to read more of Nicola Griffith's backlist, because I just loved this so much. And then the next prompt is coastal settings, and I don't know if this actually has a coastal setting, but it has ocean in the title. So I'm gonna go with yes, it absolutely counts, but I picked Ocean's Echo by Everina Maxwell. If this in fact does not count, I'll pick something else. Ooh, maybe I could swap out Into the Drowning Deep for this if this one doesn't work. That could be good. Of course, coastal doesn't necessarily mean in the ocean, so maybe not, but we'll see. Next prompt is Druid, and according to the Reddit recommendation board, The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri fits this prompt. And this is the only book in the Sapphic trifecta that I have yet to read. So that would be nice to get that one done. The next one says features robots and In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. By the time this video goes up, that book will be out. So I am going to read that for this particular prompt. And then the very last prompt is sequel, which would not be a problem because I have so many sequels I need to read. But to put a book down, I would like to read The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrick, which is the sequel to Mask of Mirrors. So yeah, those are all my picks for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo board. I don't know. Thoughts, recommendations, concerns? Are there any of the books where you can confirm or deny that they match the prompt? If you have a book published in the aughts that you think I should read, let me know. Because I don't even, it's like everything on my shelves is either 2011 and higher or is from the 90s. I don't have a lot of unread things from the aughts. So that will be my struggle, I think, if I decide to read The Mirror Grant instead of the Shauna Maguire. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you would like to leave an emoji, I feel like I just did a book stack, so I should do something else. Let's do a mermaid. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.